Hello, everybody, and welcome to a video I'm making for my series I've been presenting in my newsletter about simple, free techniques that we can use to regulate ourselves when we are just kind of in need of some help and maybe we're alone, we don't have time or finances or resources to schedule an appointment. Sometimes we just need that in the moment kind of first aid type of care. I've talked already about working with trees, tree energy, and nature. We talked about horizon gazing and how that can kind of help our brain come out of a myopic state into more of an expansive state. I talked about blessing waters and working with water element to just connect with our eldest ancestor. Today, we're going to be talking about feet. And I know that like foot stuff is for some folks kind of like titillating and kinky. I'm well aware of that. But this today we're just going to be talking about some of the traditional Chinese medicine literal points about feet and how we can use massage and acupressure to start to open up different meridians to help with emotional release and grounding. So I just went for a hike. You know me, I'm not trying to be perfect. But anyway, if I sit like this, you can see my foot. Okay. So we have meridians on the bottoms of our feet and other places in our body. But basically, we have meridians that start on our feet. Or a meridian is a channel of energy, like a highway, that goes throughout the body and holds emotional frequencies. It kind of almost acts as like a storehouse or warehouse of emotional frequencies, dependent on the organ it is assigned to or correlated to. And those frequencies are stored in the organ and then in the meridian as well. When I'm working with my feet, when I'm just like, I really need some stabilization and grounding, but I want to go a little deeper and actually build in emotional release as well. I will do a little bit of foot massage. So I'm going to walk you through what meridians and ah. Anyway, sorry about that. I don't know. They just hung up on me. Um, I'm going to walk you through what meridians are where and what they correspond to. So on the bottom of the foot, we have the kidney meridian. This is right in the sole. Kidneys warehouse the energy of anxiety. And actually, when we are startled or when we kind of have that sort of like anxious in breath, our kidneys, the actual glands, will actually rise as well up the back and sit a little higher than they otherwise would because of all of that drawing up of energy that corresponds to anxiety. So they hold anxiety and fear. And there's a channel that goes throughout the body but ends here. Then on the outside of the foot, we have the bladder meridian. Bladder warehouses the emotions of sadness, but a very particular kind of sadness that's more like a futility or hopelessness or a sense that things will never change or that they aren't worth trying to change. So when we get stuck in kind of that ruminating, myopic thinking, bladder meridian is one of those places, and the bladder organ itself, where those emotional frequencies will get stored if we are not working to process them. And that's what I'm walking you through today is like how to actually try to move those frequencies through the body. All right, so that's the outside of the foot, and it goes all the way up to the edge of the pinky toe. Then we have in between, like the pinky toe and the fourth toe, right in here, we have the gallbladder meridian. Gallbladder warehouses rage. And a lot of times when I'm working with a client, especially if it's like an intake the first time, um, and they might mark down on their intake form that they've had a gallbladder removal or gallstones or any kind of gallbladder issues. That's usually my next question is, what is your relationship to anger? Did you feel that you could express anger as a child, or were you shut down or shamed out of it? Um, do you like, we all, human beings all like experience anger, whether or not we're allowing ourselves to be conscious of it. So I will usually ask questions about that for clients. So if you have a situation in your life, maybe if you're not feeling very angry in any given moment, but you have a situation that's definitely tricky, and that's probably one of the emotions that's being like kind of generated or called up in you, even if your conscious mind won't allow it to be there, it might still be in your body. So working with this little point right here will be great to like start to move it through yourself. In between the next set of toes, I don't think that there is a meridian there. And that why you're like, Jessica, why are you a Reiki practitioner, but you're talking about traditional Chinese medicine? Well, I grew up as a baby practitioner in an acupuncture studio, so I couldn't help but kind of absorb some of it by osmosis because it was all around me all the time. So, but it's wonderful because I mean, like, I mean, what a wonderful thing. I mean, chakras were not part of the original Reiki framework, but I work with chakras, and traditional Chinese medicine was not part of the original framework either, but I like to blend them because it's kind of like it builds, it kind of makes a beautiful flower of life type of Venn diagram to bring those together. But if we move over here to I guess we would call this what, the index toe, the pointer toe, and in between that and the middle toe, that is where the stomach meridian is. Now, stomach meridian and the stomach organ will hold frequencies. It's a lot. It will hold on to multiple different types of emotions: fear, overwhelm, and disgust. Sometimes overwhelm and disgust can go hand in hand. And kind of like if we ever just feel like this is too much for me, I can't even with that, the stomach is kind of where we go with it. And then it's also holding on to emotions that are the result of situations that are hard to digest. Think about like, I don't want this, but it's like it's being force fed to me without my consent or choice. Like, think of it like I have to now swallow this hard truth or this hard situation that it's happening. And that's going into the stomach, and it can just kind of ruminate there, right? So working with the stomach meridian, and also of course like putting your hand on your belly, but like I like to work with feet because it just feels really good. So I work with the stomach meridian to start to move some of those frequencies and literally metabolize them, because we're metabolizing things all the time. We're not just metabolizing food, we're metabolizing emotions, we're metabolizing data, we're metabolizing charge, electromagnetic charge and frequency. So there's all kinds of things we're metabolizing. What I'm showing you today is one way of helping the body to start to digest and metabolize that stuff. All right. In between the index toe and the big toe, we have the liver meridian. The liver warehouses righteous anger. So whereas gallbladder over here is anger, just like that big, like, rage. The liver is holding more frequencies related to the natural byproduct of violation, betrayal, injustice, and otherwise just feeling unfairness. So and all of these meridians that I'm pointing out to you, they kind of go up from the foot, up the leg, up the torso, over the head. So when you're working with the feet in any capacity, you're actually having an effect on multiple areas of the body. That's why, like, when I work with a client or when I work with myself, my own feet, I'm always amazed. It never gets old of how many times I'll be working with someone's feet or my own feet, and all of a sudden, I just feel so much release in my jaw or my ear canals or the actual fluid pressure of the eyeballs. I mean, it's fascinating. This is fascinating stuff. So I really encourage you to try. All right, last one. We have the spleen meridian, which is on the outside of the toe. So like think all the way up to like the inside of the big toe. Spleen warehouses worry. It's worry. It's interesting. Um, Kidneys hold anxiety, the spleen holds worry. And we're sort of like, oh, like it's that same kind of thing of like, do I have enough? Am I enough? Am I good enough? how will I know if I'm enough? Like it's really related to like the stability that we feel because our feet are part of what keep us stable on the earth. They're part of what keep us walking and moving around, moving forward into the future. So the spleen meridian can hold a lot of that questioning and worry. All right, so I'll show you what I do. I don't do this in this position because this is awkward. I'll just do it kind of sitting crisscross applesauce, but I'm gonna show you like this. So like because the camera, I don't feel like messing with the camera. We're just gonna keep it like this. But I'll just get in here and like massage, right? Like I'll just really get into the sole of the foot and start massaging. And then over here, like I'll kind of like touch the toes, like kind of squeeze the sides of each toe. And if you've ever had a session with me, chances are I did this for you too. And it's so incredible to feel the regulation and recalibration that happens. Oh, that feels so good. Like I said, I just went for a hike, so that feels really good. Um, recalibration that happens when we start to open up these channels. Again, I would not be like holding my foot up ordinarily to do this. I like to kind of have my feet like lower than my heart or my belly because I like to use gravity. But you could kind of think of this because, as I said, those channels go all the way up the body and over the head. You can think of these points on the foot and then working with them, squeezing them, working them out as pulling little bathtub drains and then letting all of this just kind of drain away. That's why I feel so much recalibration in my jaw or my ears or my eyes when I'm working with people's feet. So, another thing I like to do, and this is more about meditation and visualization than actual physical stuff, um, is I like to visualize that energy's going out of my feet. With my breath, I breathe in, and then as I exhale, it's almost like I'm imagining that on the exhale, all of this energy is draining out into the earth. Just like compost, right? Like all this excess frequency, it's important, it's valid, it exists for a reason. But do I need all of it? Probably not. Just like I wouldn't keep my old banana peels forever as commemorative objects. I want these frequencies to move through me as well and compost them the way I would compost the coffee grounds and banana peels. So as I'm sitting here, I'm like, my left foot is like, wait, are you gonna rub me too? So excuse me. Um, but yeah, I will just kind of imagine that these frequencies that are stored within my body are leaving through my feet, through those minor chakras on the bottoms of the feet, and draining into the earth. And I like to think of those frequencies at that point as like an offering. Just like the compost, the food scraps are an offering, like, right? We get to give it back to the earth and let the earth make something nourishing out of it, fertilizer. Same thing with our tough feelings. We can help it drain out into the earth, give it as an offering to Divine Mother, to Gaia, and it just feels really good. Last thing I'll say about feet is that, like I was saying, I was just on a hike. When I'm hiking, I really like to try to walk on the most uneven surfaces I can for the same reasons as I'm talking about, like kind of getting into these meridians and channels. We also have tons of bones in the foot. We also have joints where all of those bones come together, and those joints have fascia and muscle and tissue and like even a little bit of fluid, and they want to be worked out. Those joints want to be worked just like we would stretch our larger appendages. So, when I'm walking, even when I'm wearing sturdy shoes, but I'm trying to like get my foot like onto a rock and kind of move it, or a stick or a log, so I can start to move and gently bend those little joints. And that will really help if you have something like plantar fasciitis. Maybe an orthopedist has told you to rub your foot over a lacrosse ball. This is very similar, except it doesn't use a lacrosse ball. But just, yeah, just like really working it out. And I find that like my left foot for some reason really likes it and really asks for that. And like I'll be kind of walking around and I'll just be like, man, my left foot is really craving more sticks. Um, so so yeah, we are creatures who evolved not wearing shoes and walking on very uneven surfaces. So if you're the kind of person that's always kind of wearing shoes and walking indoors on these flat surfaces, really encourage you to do either one of these practices. Either get the hands like right in there and kind of like start to work it out here in between the toes, or to go for a walk outside and really try to get onto some uneven surfaces as your mobility allows, of course. All right, thank you so much for continuing to go on this little series with me. If you get my newsletter, you'll be seeing this in the newsletter. If you would like to receive my newsletter and you're seeing this somewhere else, you can visit my website, gentlehandsreiki.com, to sign up. You'll get a free oracle deck and guidebook when you do. It's an oracle deck that I created and channeled called the Wisdom Whispers Oracle. And I'm always, as always, still working one-on-one with all ages of folks, all types of ailments, pre and post-op, postpartum. So um, reach out if you need some support, and I hope I see you soon. Thank you.